What's up, everybody? This is Ripples in Wales, back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and having a great day wherever you are in the world, whatever you're doing. I just finished a video for you on the day's news, and I mentioned this little beautiful rib that we found. I'm going to buy one of these with their XRP profits, and I'm just going to bring you today into a bit of chat about Codius. Now, I'm not the world's biggest nerd on Codius, but it brings us to an interesting point to do with some of the insiders back in the day, which I'd just lovely quickly to cover and to go on to some of the knowledge about it. I mentioned in the previous video that David Schwartz had resurged out of the blue to talk about Codius. Where are we? After answering a scam detective saying, I'm trying, it was a question about Codius, and the scam detective asked him, David, has Ripple also completely abandoned Codius, or is anyone working on it? And David said, I'm still trying to revive it. It's very interesting. I mean, we all haven't heard about Codius for ages, but okay, I'm going to tell you a little story about Codius, and we're going to have a little bit of a look. Kendra Hill posted about it in her Steemit blog back in the day, and Kendra was an amazing mind. My gosh, she was ahead of her time, or certainly ahead of her slot anyway. And she talked about Codius, and in one of her blogs. And I've got various screen captures, and I don't speak to Kendra anymore, sadly. She left the XRP community, and I was very disappointed with the likes of some of the people who spoke to her. Cugs was just incredibly rude to her. Didn't deserve that kind of speaking to it. Just immaturity. And she just, I know she was quite a fiery person, but she just up and left. And she was good. She was amazing for the community. She was a smart mind. She was a builder. But anyway, she left this. Codius is the most advanced smart contract platform that will ever exist. The project was said to be put on hold in 2015. It was a lie. It was never put on hold. What is Codius? Codius is the most advanced smart contracts platform that will ever exist. Ooh, it's not going to work, that is it? The project was said to be put on hold in 2015, but that was a lie. It never was put on hold. Codius will be smart contracts with integrated payment processing and variety of privacy options. One more time, Codius will be the smart contract platform that offers multiple privacy options if required and payment processing integration. No other platform can compare, no other platform will have a direct connection to the world banking system. XRP Code and Codius are going to be used to manage the entire $1.1+ quadrillion derivatives market. XRP is not a currency, it is a store of value, digital gold. And this is back in the day, Ooh, it's an alarm on my phone. I have a notebook with Ripple's agenda. If you happen to care, I also have the currency of the future and what it will be called. It exists today. And this goes on to her talking about the XLM, Stellar Lumens. But she referenced Codius back in the day and also to do with derivatives market. And, this where this came from is she was referencing the cross-border payments lie to do with Kendra's earlier part of the blog, and she believed that that the idea of the cross-border payments was a smokescreen, because in the future there wouldn't be the need for large banks and corporations. There would be just a unified currency globally. So what would be the point in cross-border payments between banks? She thought it was a smokescreen. Yeah, and it's not too far off the mark, if we advanced 15 years down the line maybe. But she said, think of cross-border payments as a nice testing ground to prepare Ripple for the use case they've always been focused on since the very beginning. The true intentions of Ripple are to handle 100% of the transactions which take place on the derivatives market. So why they not make this public knowledge? For multiple reasons, but the most important one is that they're not ready. They're missing a piece of the puzzle, and that piece is called Codius. Now, David Schwartz and a lot of people have said that, for whatever reasons, technology wasn't really available to scale Codius or to put Codius into work. And often we've seen this in the blockchain world. These amazing technologies are built out and they haven't got a user base. It's like having a product and not a market. It's the opposite way around, isn't it? You normally build a product to your market, but in these technologies, they're so far ahead of the realm, they don't have a marketplace yet. So Ripple had this problem with XRP. They had to go and build a marketplace. But anyway, there was some interesting talk between Wojciech and David Schwartz, which I went on in the previous video. But this is a bit of a this is from the Apex Summit. I think it's in February 2022. Okay, sure that's the case. Wow. Okay, this is Stefan Thomas, the lead developer from Codius and former Rippler, speaking to David Schwartz.
business logic. And so, some of you might have heard of the Codius project, and I think, whenever Interledger is well enough established that you can actually, pay for things really easily using Interledger, I think that'll enable a different kind of smart contracts platform, whether it's Codius or someone else's idea that goes in a similar direction. And so then that type of platform has no issues making Interledger payments. It also has no issues integrating with legacy systems. It has no issues integrating with the weather API to check what the weather forecast is. It doesn't need any oracles. It's just a lot more straightforward way to build these things.
Oh, I totally agree. It's just nobody really knows how to build something like that. It's just a lot of work. And
yeah, I mean, we started building it and then realized, like, okay, well, now we need to find a way to pay these contracting nodes. And it's like, well, shoot.
Yeah, I realized, I can build this thing, but I have to do 10 years of work before I can use it. So let's start.
It's also interesting because, this was, when we first started trying to build Codius, a lot of this stuff around containerization and serverless and all this infrastructure, Kubernetes didn't exist, like all this stuff didn't exist.
Right.
And so nowadays, like suddenly there's all these tools that make it easier. And so if we wait another year or two, like there's going to be even more tools that make it super easy.
They were very primitive. They were just not robust enough to handle large amounts of dollars.
Exactly.
And you don't want to make the mistake that many people made, putting billions of dollars on brand new, untested.
Yeah, it's sort of like you're trying to build a car, and then you realize no one's selling wheels yet, so you got to first invent a wheel, and then you realize no one's selling engines yet, so you got to first invent an engine. And it's just not a good way to spend your time, frankly. And so I think that where we ended up is like, what is the most useful primitive that would enable Codius and a lot of other things, and that ended up being Interledger. And so it's like, focus on one thing, and that's what we're focusing on.
So Stefan also was the pioneer between Interledger, and you'll see David, he has an incredible respect for Stephen Thomas. He is just a young, amazing mind. Fun fact about Stephen Thomas is that he still has £250 million worth of Bitcoin on a device that he can't access. I'm sorry if the volume of that was lower. It couldn't turn up any higher. So that was Stephen Thomas talking about the Codius, and there was a couple of other apps. Panos actually put something here about it as well. I'm just going to give you kind of a brief kind of walk around about Codius. Codius is the application layer for the decentralized web. Now you remember Stephen Thomas also had Coil, which they had to sunset recently, which was like a monetization point for the Web 2.0. And you see Flare maybe taking up the baton with that. Flare has got some ideas where it can also monetize, the Web 2.0. So there's a lot of technologies that are now coming up to age that may bootstrap Codius. Wogjak talked about that earlier on, that Evernode plus these app chains may be able to. And this is above my pay grade in terms of nerdology on the XRPL. I'm struggling a little bit, but there was some other really interesting little pieces of data on it. Now there was a great little video via... I can find it, maybe I won't, maybe it's gone walkies. It was notorious, but not going to find it. Anyhow, doesn't matter. Now there was a couple of great blogs. We're not actually going to cover this particular blog, but there's a good blog here by Hodor, Untapped Financial Energy, ILP, XRP, and Codius. Now, it only references Codius right at the end, but this, I found a Hodor blog, which I consider to be the gold standard of blogs. This was I found it on XRP Chat, where Hodor was very active back in the day, and there's a link here from his blog that takes you to one of his blogs, and this is his blog that's called Smart Contracts Done Right by Codius, and it has a great little article at the bottom here which kind of just summarizes things up lovely, and what's actually Stephen Thomas. It's paraphrasing. Codius works different than smart contracts in Bitcoin and Ethereum. The contracts run on an independent host without an underlying blockchain, similar to traditional hosting. This allows them to interact with any service or API, scale infinitely, and read from or write to any blockchain. The key challenge of smart contracts is interoperability was solved. And then I speak now, go back into Hodor, what Hodor's been writing. Because of the Codius separation between the smart contract and the cryptographic networks used for contract settlement, David Schwartz, Ripple's chief cryptographer, oh my god, I'm tripping over words today, noted one intriguing difference between Codius and Ethereum. Another biggest difference, perhaps one of the most important, is that Codius can keep secrets while Ethereum can't. That means Codius can, for example, control a Bitcoin wallet and an Ethereum smart contract can't. It's a powerful value proposition for architects and developers that work for banks and other financial institutions. A trustless, decentralized architecture that is secure and flexible at the same time, that can settle in any currency and any network or ledger. Now, this also leads us to the ILP Interledger Protocol, which we'll move on to in a second. Now, I'm not a nerd in each of them, but we must understand that ILP, the Interledger Protocol, was created by Ripple and handed to, I think it was the World Wide Web Consortium, as an open protocol to create for Web3 and the Internet of Value, I'm guessing. What else have we found? Yeah, so if you want to look up anything to do with Codius, you're able to go onto the XRP ledger, which is XRPL.org, and you can type in Codius. And we can see there was a few kind of iterations to the code back in 2014. They had a bi-weekly release notes. There's nothing really that's been posted on that since then. You can do a Codius search, and it'll bring up a series of what we call like entries that were released back then. But I found also that you can go to their GitHub repository, which is GitHub is like a database place for developers to track the progress of a project. It's like a Gantt chart, but on many levels, and you can see what was who was working on what, and who was doing what, and when it was being done. So there was a little bit of work that was being done in 2021. So, I don't know who was playing around with it and doing what, but there was a little bit of activity, let's say that, going on in 2021. Now, I can't see anything that's been posted in their GitHub of late. But also, Codius is a website, and it was said to be this kind of the secret ingredient behind smart contracts. Now, there's a lot of talk around smart contracts in the XRPL at the minute. We're going to be seeing, the hooks amendment running on a side chain on XRPL. I think they might have started already. They're already playing around with it, and they're going to be testing it in full force. And they really want to get smart contracts, booted up on the XRPL, because Ethereum, a lot of its transactional volume all came through smart contracts and DeFi. And what are the two things that the XRPL is now kind of working upon? DeFi and smart contracts. So they were the things that really drove enormous value down the chain. So that's the Codius website. I was having a good old look through Galgotron's blogs to see if I could find anything about Codius. I really, struggled. He's got some amazing blogs, so he's right at the brain. Remember me talking to you earlier on mentioning the, the Internet Value and a timeline for Interledger Protocol. I mentioned ILP anyway, didn't I? Well, it was to do with this particular little timeline here that I think was released in the Everest PDF documents back in the day. So let's call it 2018, and it was a timeline that was released, and everyone jumped on this. The XRP community were going mental for it back in the day. But it's just really interesting. I want to focus on the timelines between 2020 and 2025. Now, I said to you all many times, when everyone was calling the, people were telling the XRP community you're going to get $1,000 XRP in 2020, and I thought, well, that's a lot of bullshit. The data's in front of you all here. Okay, so they said between 2020 and 2025. Your Ripple becomes the standard for international money transfers between banks. ILP becomes the standard protocols for connecting banks and cash ledgers as part of Ripple software. And 2020 to 2025. So we can see there's a kind of a strong correlation with the rollout of that. And in that you had ISO and things like that. But the other interesting thing was so between 20, I guess that would be 2022 and a half, blockchain solutions for capital markets, trade finance, emerge, R3 Corda, DHH, Fabric, etc. ILP Java becomes the interoperable standard for Hyperledger Foundation projects. Interesting. And then 2025 to 2530, blockchains and distributed ledger solutions mature and all assets exchange networks become interoperable with ILP. Interledger Protocol, who was the creator of that, Stefan Thomas. And as a closing point, did you know that Vitalic Buterin worked with Stefan Thomas as an intern at Ripple and tried to get a visa but was denied? Now, he used to sleep on Stefan Thomas's floor, and it is reported that most of his smart contracts knowledge came from Codius by working with Stefan Thomas, and then he went off and founded his own blockchain and was wildly successful. Well, wildly successful in smart contracts, although the project can't scale. It's rather broken, and they've now had to pivot from proof of work to proof of stake. I don't know. It's a powerful chain by any means, Ethereum, and I like it. But there are, as David Schwartz said, you know, they had to go to market with it, you know, broken. You know, and he said this himself. Anyhow, Vitalik worked with Thomas, and, you know, if you can see a tweet here, closes off with Alex Cobb, wrote back in the day, I think this was back in 2019, it was a reference to someone's message, but Vitalic Buterin likes to poke fun at XRP, and what's funny is, he used to work with Ripple on Codius, and Stefan Thomas actually let him crash on his couch, and then he used the knowledge he gained from Ripple Codius to create Ethereum. Good luck on the next hard fork. So, you can see that there's, you know, a little bit of, there's a little bit of, I don't know, maybe a bit of edgy feelings between Ripple and Ethereum on the basis that, you know, a lot of their software may have been siphoned off. I'm not going to say he's going as far as, you know, Buterin was a plant, but it did enter my mind, you know, what if Buterin was there as a plant to siphon information off to create a challenging chain? And, you know, DAI has been down this road many times now, that this is undoubtedly a Chinese weaponization for things, or at least it seems on the surface that, you know, Ethereum has some very deep and dark secrets that are in its closet. But we won't go there today. Anyway, please give the video a like and subscribe. The likes really help the channel. I was looking at the comments today. I've been replied to every single comment so far. So drop a comment and tell me what you thought of the video. Let me know how you're all doing, what you're up to. I do reply. I will do while the channel is in its infancy. But the likes really help. So go and do that now. Give it a like. And you can turn the notifications on if you really want to. Up to 600 subscribers now. Super made up. Done 30 videos. Done another 2 more today. We are on it. We're building. XRP charts at the minute, well, like I said in the last video, things are consolidating. I'm going to be buying here and lower, fill my bags a little bit. I'm going to rotate some ETH and some profits from a couple of projects that I've got as well, as this starts to come back into a real nice buy zone. We've got a lot of support to meet up there. So anyhow, this is my Twitter channel, @RipplesInWales. Come and say hi there too. Anyhow, have a great day, whatever you're up to, guys, and see you all in the next video. Be blessed.